Berkeley resident with a history of protesting in favor of Castro nudity does not sound like a MAGA extremist to me. All right. House Speaker Pelosi's husband in hospital after assault. So happened early Friday this morning. All right, get out of my face. All right, San Francisco today, October the 28th. U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul Pelosi, was assaulted during a break-in at the couple's San Francisco home early on Friday, and suspect has been arrested, authorities said. Paul Pelosi, 82, was taken to the hospital and expected to make a full recovery. Pelosi's office said the Democratic Speaker, who's the second in the succession line of the U.S. presidency, was in Washington with her protective detail at the time of the assault, according to U.S. Capitol Police. So, bad timing for whoever did that. Capitol Police said the motives for the attacker was still under investigation. CNN citing a source reported that the assailant shouted, "Where is Nancy?" before the attack. The Associated Press reported the hammer-wielding assailant specifically targeted the Pelosi's home. So you can imagine somebody just rolling in there like the movie Old Boy. It was unclear how the intruder got into the 3-story red brick townhouse in the affluent Pacific Heights neighborhood. Aerial photos showed shattered glass on a door at the rear of the house. Streets around the residence were closed off on Friday morning. The assault occurred less than 2 weeks before the November 8th midterm elections, in which control of the House and U.S. Senate is at stake. San Francisco police said they responded to the home break-in at 2:27 a.m. Pacific time and took a suspect into custody. Further details were expected at a news conference scheduled 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. So a little bit more news has broken on this one and how the guy got in. He pretty much just went through a sliding glass door. This is a bad day for anybody invested in the sliding glass door industry. Paul Pelosi is being treated for bruises, severe swelling, and other injuries after being severely beaten in the head and body by an assailant wielding a hammer, the Associated Press reported, citing 2 sources with knowledge of the investigation. President Joe Biden and Pelosi expressed their support. We'll look at the White House here in a moment. House Republican Kevin McCarthy also said he reached out to Pelosi, while Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell said he was horrified and disgusted by the attack. Capitol Police, responsible for protecting Congress, said it was working with the FBI and San Francisco police on the investigation. New York City police warned on Thursday that extremists could target politicians, political events, and polling sites ahead of the midterm elections. We looked a little bit of that last time, as we've seen certain political aligned folks hanging out around polling places. Which also, this is the kind of the danger of that, is you have no idea if people are going to be chill and calm and cool. If they're just hanging out by your polling place, they might be now wielding a hammer. So let's see. Capitol Police. Let's see. Okay, here we go. The Capitol Police, responsible for protecting Congress, said it was working with the FBI and San Francisco police on the investigation. New York City police warned on Thursday that extremists... Oh, I already read that. Republicans have been campaigning on concerns about violent crime as well as inflation and other quality of life issues. San Francisco's crime rate in 2021 was 1.5 times the national average, according to several crime-checking websites. Excuse me. As a Democratic leader in Washington and a longtime representative from one of America's most liberal cities, Pelosi, also 82, is a frequent target of Republican criticism and is often featured in attack ads. So crime in San Francisco being what it is should not really be super surprising to anybody. When you have the income inequality that San Francisco has bred, with it being, the incredibly rich living super close to the incredibly poor, you're bound to have those what's the word I'm looking for? You're bound to have tensions get higher and higher and grow super high. That's kind of part of like what you're gonna see in those situations. That's not super shocking. Her office was ransacked during the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. Supporters of Republican then President Donald Trump, some of whom hunted for her during the assault. In January 2021, her home was vandalized with graffiti saying "Cancel rent" and "We want everything" painted on the house, and a pig's head left in front of the garage, according to media reports. Wow, that I didn't hear about the pig's head. McConnell's home was also vandalized around that time. In a politically polarized climate, threats against Republicans and Democratic lawmakers have been on the rise. Capitol Police said they investigated 9,625 incidents in 2021, nearly a threefold increase from 2017. A gunman angered by Trump shot and wounded 5 Republican members of Congress at a baseball practice in 2017, and Democrat Gabby Giffords was shot in the head at a public appearance in 2011. We are going to talk more about that. Paul Pelosi, who owns a San Francisco-based real estate and venture capital firm, was convicted of a misdemeanor charge of driving under the influence of alcohol after becoming involved in an auto accident in May. He was sentenced to 5 days in jail. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really sorry. I got up and immediately saw this headline and then got to prepping, so still kind of waking up here. Yeah. So, yeah, let's take a look at the White House's statement really quickly. Let's see. The president is praying for Paul Pelosi and for Speaker Pelosi's whole family. This morning, he called Speaker Pelosi to express his support after this horrible attack. He is also very glad that a full recovery is expected. The president continues to condemn all violence and asks that families' desire for privacy be respected. Pretty small in terms of a statement goes. I mean, they're not really gonna, as the investigation kind of ramps up and we get a little bit more information, I'm sure we'll hear a little bit more specifically from the press secretary. Let's take a look and see. I'm pretty sure this is the exact same thing. Okay, yeah. Nothing new on that front. But yeah, so Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House on the Democratic side, husband, well, let's be, if reports are to be believed, allegedly this individual broke into their home looking for Nancy Pelosi and didn't find her, which is a good thing, but did find her husband and ended up in an altercation, and now her husband's in the hospital. Paul Pelosi, who I have no love for, the guy is a capitalist through and through and a perpetuator of the horrible system that leads to the income inequality, that leads to the violence that he's now been a victim of. At the end of the day, assault is not okay. So as much as I certainly would not carry water for the Pelosi's, this is not good, not okay, not any of those things. Here, I see it's getting a bit dark in the background. My gamer light. I told you guys, it's been, it's so much better. It's been a quick morning, so I kind of threw this all together. So, I want to talk about the individual, because the first initial reactions to any of this stuff is always important and fascinating. A lot of people, I don't think, they kind of see the first couple of reports, they see some articles in the beginning, and that's kind of where they stop paying attention. After that, people tend to not stick with stories and kind of be more interested in the initial narrative. So let's take a look at, if you've ever been there, it's kind of a hellscape. r/conservative. Yes. This is a post specifically 5 fast facts about David DePep, which has been named the assaulter in this case. So we're gonna look at that article second. I want us all to take a look at kind of everybody's reaction a little bit. So we got right here, a Berkeley resident with a history of protesting in favor of Castro nudity does not sound like a MAGA extremist to me. Certainly doesn't. Doesn't sound, let's see. A 2013 article in the San Francisco Chronicle mentions DePep, although his name is spelled wrong. It describes him as a hemp jewelry maker. That article reported that DePep was the best man at a naked wedding at Gypsy Taub. Don't know what that is. Don't care. Doesn't sound very MAGA, does it? Do facts matter? To the left? Nope. Let's see. That's what I was thinking reading the article. Hemp jewelry maker, some kind of nudist and other similar things. He sounds very progressive leaning, not right and surely not MAGA. I'm sure they're going to pull out all the stops trying to call him right wing, but he really sounds like, quote, one of their own turned on them. All right, so as we can already see, so remember when we talk about conservative narratives and conservative media spinning, this is kind of where a lot of that is going to begin. So obviously Fox News is going to do their usual, either A, they're going to try to obfuscate any kind of wrongdoing or evidence. So that's the first thing that's going to happen. But obviously different sites, Twitter's going to have a fun day with this. I'm sure conservative Twitter's going to find every little excuse to call him not conservative and everything else. But obviously they've all decided, nope, he's a leftist. He can't be right wing, yada yada yada. So let's take a look at the article that they got this from. So let's look at their source. All right. David DePep was identified as the suspect accused of attacking Paul Pelosi, the husband of Nancy Pelosi, with a hammer in the couple's home, leaving him with serious blunt force trauma. Police have confirmed the suspect's name, David DePep, is a Berkeley resident. What are DePep's politics, and was he on social media? On a blog and website, he was fixated on censorship and made anti-Semitic comments. In one post, he ranted about government attempts to control information, calling for the arrest of journalists from prominent news organizations. Online records give DePep's age as 42. After receiving a call in early morning, this is what we're interested in. Okay, here we go. An older picture of DePep emerged alongside a prominent Berkeley nudist activist with whom he has children. Let's see. In pictured here, we have, actually, I have the tweet. Here we go. From Lydia, whatever this person's, I don't know how to pronounce this person's name. Coronage reported Paul Pelosi attacker is David DePep, a Castro-supporting nudist transient from Berkeley, California. In parentheses, he's on the far left, literally and figuratively. So they're alleging that it's this guy right here. All right, that's going to be that. Let's keep reading. On a WordPress blog, DePep ranted about censorship by the, quote, elites and, quote, ruling class. He also appears to have a website that reads The Jews. All right. 16 hours ago, he posted a headline, Why colleges are becoming cults. He ranted about movies, writing, and critics. Critics are Efsler, commie, gatekeepers. They love the, I don't know what that would be. I don't think the word shit has that many letters. But anyway, something movies ever as long as those movies are, because they were, you can read more about the, I love how this writer was like, I'm not going to keep quoting this. Some of those referred to former President Donald Trump, either Q is Trump himself or Q is a deep state mole within the Trump's inner circle. So Q or Trump sabotage, so pro Q stuff. In another post, he wrote that the Ukrainians died needlessly. The cheaper the land will be for the Jews to buy it up. General anti-Semitism. And let's see, there's the glass that they talked about earlier. So yeah, as we can see, a pretty big mixed bag. So again, since this is the source that they're going to be using for their information, let's look at probably the top comment, the top thing that they decided to feature, which is from Lydia News. So, why is everyone so shocked that David DePep isn't ultra MAGA? Who threw pig's blood on Pelosi's home in 121? Bomb pro-life centers. Vandalize wealthy Upper East Side brownstones. Who burned down cities in 2020? The radical left. So obviously, this person, so whatever, I've never read heavy.com. I have no idea their political leanings, but obviously them choosing this is pretty obviously. We can look at more of their tweets. Pretty obvious they have a pretty right-wing bent here. Let's see. How will Speaker Pelosi feel if the people who beat her husband with a hammer also notice that she said people when we're talking about a single individual? People who beat her husband with a hammer in their home are arrested and then just let go on no bail. So obviously that's referring to some of the no bail laws that have been passed in some Democratic areas. White supremacists. Let's see. I've seen this video before. This is of like a black assailant, so obviously making the doing the usual like, oh, white people can't commit crimes because black people commit crimes as usual. So not exactly. Oh yeah, Twitter employee with the new meme going out, the unemployed thing. I also saw this on Archon. So obviously, the right wing, at least on r/conservative, decided, well, clearly he's left wing. Clearly. So let's take a little bit of a deeper dive as information has come out. So, the man who allegedly attacked House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband early on Friday posted memes and conspiracy theories on Facebook about COVID vaccines, 2020 election, and January 6th attack on the Capitol, and an acquaintance of the CNN that seemed out of touch with reality. Let's take a look. His stepfather, Jean DePep, and David DePep grew up in Powell River, British Columbia, and left Canada about 20 years ago. He's a Canadian. Ago to pursue a relationship that brought him to California. Oh, nice for him. Actually, let's get a little closer here, shall we? There we go. That's a bit better. All right. I really don't know what to think. The suspect's uncle. Hopefully, it's a scam. I don't want to hear something like that. Last year, DePep posted links on his Facebook page to multiple videos produced by MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell. Mike Lindell's not right wing. Mike Lindell isn't right wing. He just cares deeply about elections and people's quality of pillows. Mike Lindell. Falsely alleging that the 2020 election was stolen, other posts included transphobic images and linked to websites claiming COVID vaccines were deadly. Oh man, the anti-vaccine and spreading vaccine misinformation. That's not right wing. That's not, guys. The left was always against the vaccines. This guy can't be right wing. No. Transphobic images? The left isn't transphobic. Come on. Guy is obvious. Twitter and everybody else, everyone on r/politics. He's obviously left wing, clearly. The paper also posted links to YouTube videos with titles like "Democrat Farce Commission to Investigate January 6th Riot Collapses in Congress" and "Global Elites Plan to Take Control of Your Money" (parentheses revealed). So it's, guys, this is, remember, a Berkeley resident with a history of protesting in favor of Castro doesn't sound like a MAGA extremist to me. Does this? I don't know. I don't know. What could it be? 2 days after former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was found guilty of killing George Floyd, DePape wrote that the trial was, quote, a modern lynching. Whoa, I wonder where he heard that one from. Falsely indicating that Floyd died of a drug overdose. He also, hey, somebody's been listening to Kanye West. He also posted content about the, quote, Great Reset, the sprawling conspiracy theory that global elites are using coronavirus to usher in a new world order in which they gain more power and oppress the masses. And he complained that politicians making promises to try to win votes, quote, are offering your bribes in exchange for your further enslavement. Most of the public posts DePep's Facebook page were from 2021. In earlier years, DePep also posted long screeds about religion, including claims that Jesus is the Antichrist. None of the public posts appeared to mention Pelosi. Two former acquaintances DePep's in California told CNN he exhibited concerning behavior over the years. Linda Schneider said she got to know DePep roughly 8 years ago and that he occasionally house sat for her. When they met, she said DePep was living in a storage unit in Berkeley area and told her he had been struggling with hard drugs but was, quote, trying to create a new life for himself. Schneider later received, quote, really disturbing emails from DePep in which he sounded like a, quote, megalomaniac and so out of touch with reality. She said she stopped communicating with him because, quote, because it seemed so dangerous, adding that she recalled him using biblical justification to do harm. I don't know. I know all those biblical justification leftists. I know. Laura Hayes, who also lives in California, said she worked with DePep for a few months, roughly a decade ago, making hemp bracelets when he was living in a storage shed. Guys, so this whole see the hemp jewelry maker in 2013 article in San Francisco, this was 10 years ago. Their information is 10 years old, and they've already decided facts don't matter. They've already got the facts. So I want everyone to stick with me on this, because we're gonna keep going and it ain't gonna get much better. He was very odd. He didn't make eye contact very well, Hayes said, but she recalled him saying that he talks to angels and there will be a hard time coming, but she didn't remember any seriously threatening comments, and she didn't think much of it because it's Berkeley. Yeah, it's Berkeley. People in Berkeley are a bit off the wall. Hayes, who is a Facebook friends with DePep, called his most recent post so phobic in so many ways and filled with so much anger. So, if you're not convinced yet, we're just going to keep going. So let's take a quick look, really, really quickly, at the article that they're referencing from 2013. There are 3 bedrooms and 6 people if you count David DePep. His name is spelled incorrectly, but allegedly they've confirmed that it's the same guy. A hemp jewelry maker and father figure who will double as best man. Planning the wedding is stressful, but it's exciting because I'm a big rebel and I just like to stir shit up. So obviously they did whatever search, found this picture, and then pulled like 2 little things from this. So this isn't really super hard evidence of any kind of left-leaning anything. The dude kind of lives in the same area. This was also, again, let's remember, 10 years ago. So when I say that the information could be just a bit off, been out of date, 10 years is pretty fucking out of date. So this is an update. This is a different article, but it has been updated. But if I go check, let's go take a look at Archon. Let's see if anybody's posted the updated article. Doesn't seem like anybody. Nope. Doesn't seem like it. Doesn't seem like anybody was here's the original one we looked at. It doesn't seem like anybody's interested in the new one. So I'll do it for them. David DePep, politics, social media, blog post, revealed thoughts. David DePep left behind a trail of writing in which he railed about Jews and censorship. He also posts on climate hysteria, COVID, aliens, pedophilia, communism, and more. DePep was identified by San Francisco police as the suspect. Yes, we know all this. Some of his posts, here we go. Some of his posts refer to former President Donald Trump. Quote, either Q is Trump himself or Q is the deep state moles within Trump's inner circle. So Q or Trump sabotage their child trafficking operations. Number 2, self-inflicted wound. Trump's covert ID or a deep state mole. Was Q referring to this? Did Q do this? So he's obviously a Q guy. Which, by the way, I just want to say, Q, the whole Q crowd, I'm sorry, you're MAGA guys. And to the MAGA guys, I'm sorry, you're in with the Q folks. I'm sorry, I know, you don't like it, you want to differentiate yourself. I'm really sorry, but you're going to have to hold that L, my friend. Or in this case, that Q. He called transgender people freaks on his website on October 10th, 2022. He wrote of communism versus fascism. I'm assuming that's fucking shocked the first time I heard that communism had a death toll. My whole life I heard about the evils of fascism. DePep wanted Donald Trump to make Tulsi Gabbard his Hey, do we all remember Tulsi? No, she's not right-wing, guys. Come on. She's not right-wing. Come on, only guys like this who attack Nancy Pelosi want her to be vice president. Kanye West addressed the backlash. Yeah. Okay, this is unrelated. In a few posts, DePep mentioned Trump. DePep wrote on his website, I guess this is as good as time as any. Trump, you need to make Tulsi your VP in 2024. Of the entire Democrat presidential candidates in 2020, she was the only Democrat candidate who wasn't running on a platform being an insane, mentally unwell demagogue. Bernie? You're from Berkeley, you know, like Bernie? What the hell's wrong with you? Having Tulsi as your VP bridges the insane partisan divide. It really doesn't. He also posted about Kanye West, writing, yeah, I remember the backlash and insults when you came out in support of Trump. He wrote, Trump, just drink bleach. So first off, this was extremely manipulate way. No, these guys always know how to spell, right? Was spinning what he actually said. Trump said, drink bleach. This isn't an isolated incident either. DePep also weighed in on George Floyd, writing, let's get into George Floyd before I forget. What's the difference between justice and lynching? Justice is based upon evidence, while lynchings are based upon optics. He claimed that Floyd was not killed by police officer Derek Chauvin's knee, writing, quote, the autopsy showed a fatal level of fentanyl in his system and that he had died of a heart attack consistent with the symptoms he was exhibiting prior to being placed on the ground. So I love when I see this because like we had an entire like trial with doctors and like people on site, and yeah, they came to all the same conclusion that he had fentanyl in his system, but it was the knee doth kill George Floyd. I don't know why they're so. I mean, I know why they're obsessed with the fentanyl thing because it's the only thing they can latch onto. But if George Floyd had weed in his system, they would just say that, oh, he died of like a marijuana overdose. Like at the end of the day, like they would be looking for any and all excuses. Let's see. He added, the only person who is owed damages is Derek Chauvin. DePep made anti-Semitic comments on a blog. Oh boy. The more Ukrainians die needlessly, the cheaper the land will be for Jews to buy up. It is not a good look to have Jimmy Dore on here. And that's not a great look. On a WordPress blog, the paper ranted about censorship by the elites in the ruling. He also appeared on the website, the Jews, colleges are cults. Who else says colleges are cults? It's totally the right way, the left wing, right? Yep. His name was also given as Daniel DePet with different capitalization. Suspect who authorities attacked. Where is Nancy? She is from Moscow, Russia. The homeless youth. David DePope wrote a blog called "Welcome to Big Brother Censorship Hell." The reason we have the First Amendment is because censorship only applies to you. The elites and ruling class never censor themselves. You can still turn on any mainstream news channel to hear day and night the narrative put forth by the people who rule you. Founding father, I'm assuming that's supposed to be fathers, built in protection against censorship coming from the government because they never imagined a day when tech giants and private industries would be so powerful they could single-handedly silence the people. Yeah, if you don't like it, then make them public institutions, and then you can have all your free speech. But I'm pretty sure most Republicans does not want the Facebook and the rest of those to be made public because they're not in favor of public ownership of things. The blog contains new black graphics and the word censorship stamp. So yeah, totally not right wing, guys. Not right wing. Not right wing. Don't even go there. And to wrap up, we're gonna wrap up. Oh, good. We're gonna wrap up. Let's wrap up a bit of this with a video, shall we? So this is basically just going to be a video version of what I just said. But either way, I think it's useful. I think it's important.
I know that you have been looking into this. I know that you have been online already looking for his digital footprint. What do we know about him?
Yeah, I mean, he's already posted lots of conspiracy theories about transhumanism and global warming and COVID-19 and all this stuff online on a blog. Transhumanism is the belief that
totally left wing, totally left wing,
trying to get us to inject ourselves with
left wing,
COVID-19
left
shots,
wing,
vaccines
left
that
wing,
are really
left wing.
It's like a very confusing, complicated thing. But he is an OG conspiracy theorist. Based on what we've seen so far.
And Alex Jones type, who Alex Jones is totally not on the right. Not on the right at all.
Nothing specifically mentioning any politicians or any political leanings or, I mean, obviously, in terms of his...
Yeah, he mentions being black-pilled and being against in talking about the cover up of pedophilia and stuff like Pizzagate style
Oh,
things.
yep,
I think
Pizzagate,
it's pretty clear
Jones.
where this is leaning so far.
Remember, guys. Oh, show it to me. Show it. No. Oh wait. I shouldn't have gone out of it. But remember, guys. A Berkeley resident with a history of protesting in favor of Castro nudity does not sound like a MAGA extremist to me. Once the mainstream media gets done spinning this, you appear to be a poster boy for conservatism. It's almost like he was always a conservative and they just wanted to get ahead of it and call any kind of, revealing of his opinions as political. So he's in his 40s, Berkeley resident, a nudist hemp jewelry maker 10 years ago. And he was the best man at a naked gypsy wedding and anti-Semitic while complaining about Big Brother communists. This guy's a real piece of work. Totally not MAGA. Where's the other one? Where's the other one? There it is. This is where MAGA Q attempts to separate themselves from the perpetrator. Yep. So yeah, there's obviously the regular conservatives and the Marjorie Taylor Greene QAnon crazies are going to be trying to differentiate themselves from this guy. But at the end of the day, let's all be clear-eyed about this. That is what this guy is. This guy is a MAGA-style Trump conservative. Whatever hemp jewelry nonsense shit going on, whatever any of that was happening, yeah, that's long past. This dude has been like in it on the Q train since at least like 2015, 2016. Probably more like even 2017 probably. So so that anybody in here before the right wing has their little fun and games, obfuscating facts, and just, conveniently leaving out certain things. Let's be clear. This guy was right wing and was a crazy Trump, MAGA, QAnon, all the rest of that shit. Probably a Nazi Republican voter. Let's be clear. Actually, I'll strike Republican voter because this guy probably doesn't vote because he probably doesn't think that it matters. And he probably doesn't think that like voting is real or whatever. He probably thinks the election was stolen. Actually, we know he thinks the election was stolen. As we pare down a bit, let's kind of take a bit of a breath, shall we? So, do you know what this is? If you're familiar, you might have heard them mention this earlier. This is a campaign flyer, little fun social media thing that the Palin campaign decided to put out back in the day. So, if anybody doesn't remember Sarah Palin, I'll give you a reminder. She is the nutjob crazy, the predecessor to your Lauren Boeberts, your Marjorie Taylor Greenes, your probably JD Vance's. I'm not 100% sure about that one. But at least those, specifically Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene, are the ones that you'll really find stem from the rotten vines that were Sarah Palin. Sarah Palin, the vice presidential candidate in the, I believe it was the 2008 presidential election. This was the year it was McCain and Palin versus Obama and Biden the first time go around. And yeah, so, we all kind of know Palin's craziness, but I specifically want to look at this because this was a big deal back then when she put this out. So as you can kind of see, I'm hoping you guys can see here. We'll zoom in a bit more just to make sure you guys can see what that is. So as you can kind of see, those are crosshairs. Now, there are going to be people who are going to say, "Oh, what's the big deal? It's just is there a big difference between crosshairs and circles or anything else? Maybe to, you know, maybe to the untrained and the unestablished eye, they might think, I don't know, they're just saying the seats that they want to go for in the House. This is, if I remember correctly, this is for the House. Yeah. Yep, this is for the House. Yeah. One of them was, if you'll notice, Gabby Giffords, who you might have heard mention was shot by a gunman in 2011. Oh yeah, this was like after the midterms. Actually, this wasn't leading into the presidential one. I'm sorry, I misspoke. This was leading into the second campaign. At this point, I believe Palin was rerunning for her seat in Alaska, although I could be wrong about that. But either way, this is the pack. This is the flyer that her pack put together. But yeah. So initially, this was pretty sus because in America, we have a certain kind of gun culture that leads our citizens to think it's okay to solve almost every problem with firearms, which it's not. I shouldn't really have to say that, but I think I do. And because of that, because the Republican Party leans so heavily into the Second Amendment rhetoric, into the anti-government rhetoric, they don't see a problem when they put crosshairs on some of these House states. Now, this might seem benign. This might just seem, you had to pick a graphic instead of a circle. You did a crosshairs because you like guns or whatever. But what is that communicating to people? What is that communicating to Republican voters? What that is communicating broadly is you need to be thinking about your opposition, about Democrats as enemies to be shot at. They keep hearkening back to that gun rhetoric, right? So, and by no means did any of this start when Palin posted this, but this was 11 years ago, and it's evolved through stuff like this. So, this is an entire article on Marjorie Taylor Greene's incendiary words. Obviously, we have the space slaver stuff, we have the mass shooting, we have, how do you get an avid gun owners and people that support the Second Amendment to give up their guns and go along with anti-gun legislation? You make them scared, you make them victims, and you change their mindset, and then possible you pass anti-gun legislation. This is what happened in Las Vegas. So in her mind, obviously the Las Vegas shooting, because it was a country, because it was a country concert, she thinks that it was a hoax put on by the government. So, so that, if we target some country fans that may be conservatives who are generally more country fans than anybody else, maybe they'll kind of see that we need gun control and then we can take their guns away. So obviously she's a fucking crazy person. She's a lunatic. But let's take a look. Let's be really specific here. Nancy Pelosi. Greene once suggested in an online video that Pelosi could be executed for treason. Well, she's a traitor to our community. She's guilty of treason, Greene says in a video which CNN first reported. And it's a crime punishable by death is what treason is. Nancy Pelosi is guilty of treason. She also liked a January 2019 Facebook post that called for, quote, a bullet to the head for Pelosi. So, and I want to draw a through line here. When you use the kind of visual and auditory rhetoric of gun violence, of wartime, of any of this stuff, Matt Walsh also does it. We've talked about him. But specifically, think about that Palin flyer, that like super PAC ad, whatever the fuck. They put that's where that stuff starts. This is where it leads. Where people on Facebook are openly calling for a bullet to the head, and Marjorie Taylor Greene going one step further and trying to legalize that kind of violence by saying, no, we don't need vigilante violence. What we need is a trial, to put her on trial for treason. And guess what? If we can prove that she legally committed treason, then we can kill her. And obviously she's gone back on this in court. Like there's a video of her kind of walking all of this back.
Did you say, referring to Speaker Pelosi, she's a traitor to our country, she's guilty of treason, she took an oath to protect the American citizens, she gives aid and comfort to our enemies who would illegally invade our land. That's what treason is. And our law representatives and senators can be kicked out and no longer serve in our government. And it's a crime punishable by death, is what treason is. Nancy Pelosi is guilty of treason. Did you say those words?
I said, this is what I was telling you, is she doesn't uphold our laws.
It's a
She
simple
allows
yes or no
illegal.
question, ma'am.
I mean,
Did
she
you say those
answer
words?
without being instructed by him to say yes or no.
I don't agree, Your Honor. This is cross-examination.
This is
I'm
so
entitled
what?
to an answer to my question, not a
Representative
speech.
Green, did you say these words that are quoted on the bottom of it? Did you say that?
According to the CNN article, I did. I don't remember.
Do you recall saying?
I don't recall saying all of this, but I do.
As always, I'm sorry, Your Honor, I don't remember ever saying that. This is what they've been pushing for. This is what it was always going to lead to. And I'm going to leave us with one last little clip here.
We've got skyrocketing.
What the fuck? Did I just see fucking Second Amendment Thor just now? I thought conservatives were like upset about Lady Thor. What is wrong with you guys?
We've got skyrocketing inflation, high diesel fuel, and Democrats' America Last policies. Democrats aren't the only one destroying farmers' ability to put food on the table. We've got wild hogs destroying farmers'
look at those
fields.
poor
So we
pigs.
decided to go hog hunting.
No! Oh, those poor pigs! No! Monsters! Monsters, I say.
Let's help American farmers. Let's help American farmers out. Sign up below and let's
fuck
go in
American
that
farmers. I'm
helicopter
pro-pig.
and go hog hunting. Enter to win now.
Yeah, fuck farmers. I'm pro-pig around here. Save America, stop communism. So, yeah. When I say... So let's look at that really quickly. So we've got skyrocketing inflation. We're going to mute this because I don't feel like listening to her nasally ass, annoying ass voice. Skyrocketing inflation. Democrats ruining America. But they aren't the only ones doing so. Because you see, at the end of the day, the Republicans are always trying to draw these lines of similarity between Democrats and, in this case, a very thinly veiled metaphor for pigs that you can now shoot. At the end of the day, what she wants in her mind is to communicate, hey, you want to shoot Democrats, I want to shoot Democrats, but we can't yet. The guy with the hammer is going over to whoop Paul Pelosi's ass this morning in a month, but we can't do that yet. So let's shoot hogs and just say that they're doing the same thing that Democrats do. It's incredibly thinly veiled and it's very obviously violent rhetoric. But unfortunately, Marjorie Taylor Greene makes a lot of money for the Republican Party. She makes a lot. She's one of the top donors for the Republican Party. So naturally, they're not going to put a hold on any of this. They're not going to rein her in. And ultimately, their party is going to fall victim to all of this. To all of this kind of fascist, violent rhetoric. That's where this party is headed, unfortunately. I can't say I'm super shocked. All my life, they've been heading in this vague direction. We're just kind of hitting, I think, the apex of all of that. But yeah, so